seems relevant, more in life backdrop than my green screen background. So I think that's something I'm going to do now, but I'm going to go and talk a bit more outside because there's nothing more off-putting for a vlogger than a whole bunch of people walking into a cinema glancing weirdly at you. And I put myself off as much when I'm vlogging in the comfort of my bedroom. I don't think I need to put myself off whilst in public. I mean, I'm already doing it, but you know, that's whatever. Let's just find a relatively quiet place to talk on camera, and I'll give my thoughts about the film. Which I have notes on my watch, because usually I read the notes off my phone, and I can't because I'm using that to do this. So yeah, just give me a second to find somewhere to sit down and we'll talk about Lightyear. But basically, as my description says, it's what if you got Interstellar and you gave it the Disney touch. So I can get my notes on my phone now. Yeah, I mean, it's a strongly constructed film, as you expect Pixar films to be. The themes are really clearly stated, like from the beginning and throughout. Like, there's no doubt what the film is trying to convey, with its character Buzz, the whole theme about ask for help, they'll be independent, trust other people, which I'll talk about a bit more in a second. If anything, it's a bit well too constructed. It's a bit not formulaic, but I mean, if it's basically the building blocks of film done pretty straightforward without much kind of deviation or ambition to it. So in that sense, it makes it one of Pixar's more unoriginal films, especially compared to some of the previous ones that we've had in recent years, which kind of broke the mold a bit more and a bit more ambitious in their storytelling and in their construction. This is very much a kind of, you know, by the beats, open act, state theme, set the world, turn the world upside down, set a dilemma for the protagonist, you know, rising stakes. They win and they lose and they win again, kind of whole, you know, Blake Snyder kind of construction. But you know, it's still a Pixar film, just so can't fault it for being well constructed. I guess it's very much, you know, by the books of things. Why are there kids about? That's the question I'm asking. Oh, Siri, I did not want you to come on my phone. Right, so yeah, so as I said, one of the themes of the film that's stated, I think, pretty early on, is that Buzz doesn't like, it's not that he doesn't like help from people, he doesn't like help from people he thinks aren't experienced. So, which is actually quite I guess, a good twist on it. He's not a lone wolf independent. He's more than happy to accept help from Alicia Hawthorne, who is his contemporary. He's just not wanting to accept help from the less experienced person, and he flat right out rejects them. He also doesn't like help from AI, although that's less challenged throughout the film and sort of arbitrarily gets, well, it's sort of challenged but not really addressed, kind of challenged throughout the film. But yeah, he doesn't like kind of less experienced people helping him, which is, I guess, it's a nice twist on a trope. It's still a trope that's done before. It's a bit of a tired trope, and it's something I'm cautious about. What was I saying in my notes? And the reason why I'm cautious about it is mainly for what this film kind of actually ends up doing pretty consistently, where actually Buzz is fairly competent on his own, and if none of the other people were around obstructing him, he would actually succeed in what he was trying to do. Like, he's not someone who, you know, he's not he's not hoisted by his own petard, he's not pulled down by his arrogance or by his hubris. He literally is, his only obstacles are the people who are trying to help and get in the way and obstruct him by doing so. And even then, as a leader, he's not a bad leader. He compliments them when they do actually, like, he does listen to them. He's never like, not now, kid. Well, he is at some points, and most of the time he does hear them out when they suggest good ideas. He doesn't arbitrarily ignore it because you know, he wants his idea to be the one that's the right idea, and he refuses to listen to everyone else's idea because they suggest it, therefore they must be wrong. No, he only suggests he listens to their ideas. When their ideas are good ideas, he goes with their ideas. He compliments them when they have good ideas. It's a nice twist, and I'm glad they kind of went that way, because it's a bit tired to have. I really hate, the forced miscommunication trope in films. I really, really hate it. So I'm glad they didn't go that way. It does kind of, remove any kick the dog elements from Lightyear. Like, it kind of removes his growth when he is right from the get-go, if that makes sense. But so I'm kind of like, I'm balanced between, well, I'm not frustrated by it, but from a storytelling perspective, there's no way for the character to go. So it's kind of that weird mix, where I'm not quite sure what his growth is. Like, he does have, throughout the entire film, he seems actually he has the right balance already of when you should listen to someone and when you should tell them, no, step back, let me, who's clearly more qualified, to take it away. And yet he still has that moment in the third act where he's like, no, I need your help, I can't do this alone. Except there was never really something which kind of instigated that. He was already willing to accept the help of people as long as the help was actually the good help. So that was a kind of a weird moment. I've lost my notes now, but let me bring it back up. So unfortunately, that arc, muddled as it is, well, I don't know if it's fortunate or not, that arc is kind of muddled. It's not the only arc he has 2 arcs, which I guess isn't necessarily a good thing, because rather than having one strong arc, we've got 2 half arcs, which aren't as necessarily strong. So the twist at the end is that the big bad is actually him from an alternate future, where things went slightly different, and he became bitter because of it, traveled back in time to try and change how things turned out, which, as I was writing my review on Letterboxd, I realised was actually the exact same twist from the Lego Movie 2, the second one. I don't know if I was deliberate, well, I'm probably not deliberate, but it's a heck of a steal, I guess, plot-wise. But yeah, that's essentially what the twist is. It's the same twist. And usually, again, Lego Movie 2 wasn't the first film to do that. Maybe, although this is very similar to how it does it, but the whole, antagonist being an alternative version of you isn't, unique to that film. It's done before. And it's, again, another trope that's usually quite tired and not normally done quite well. I think it works here, though. I think for the second arc they're going for, which was let go of your obsession with the mission and accept the fact that you can build something better if you have a new adventure, which is what everyone was basically telling him, and he was like, no, I've got to complete the mission. But even then, he was never really depicted as it wasn't really a toxic trait for him to have. The only person he was hurting was really himself, and then I guess ultimately his obsession caused a future him to hurt everyone else. But that was only like kind of a third act reveal. That doesn't really impact most of the kind of things that happened before. But also, I've got to think. Same thing with the end of Interstellar. What does it matter if he ends up getting everyone off the planet? They don't have a home to go to anymore. But maybe they already accepted that because they're already traveling through hyperspace anyway. But yeah, he has that arc ends with being like, actually no, I'll abandon the mission to save everyone who's already had a life, because clearly they've accepted the life and they're happy with the lives that they have, and I'll destroy the hyperspace to do that. So again, it was a clearly signed arc, and to execute it very well, you needed him to basically talk to a different version of himself. So I think they did the right execution there. But yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on it, kind of narratively. The visuals, are great. There's the risk of taking what is essentially a very stylistic, because it had to be, very stylistic elements of what Lightyear, that we've known from the 3 Toy Story movies, the toy version, and making that look like a realistic-ish person could have gone very Uncanny Valley, because it's the image we know very well. But actually, I think the visually looks great. I was never put off. It's, again, Pixar, they've shown that they can switch easily between stylistic choices or very kind of stylistic but still photorealistic. So the visuals were great. The action sequences, they were great. None of them were kind of, I was never on my edge of the seats. I think the only really sitting on the end of my seats action sequence from Pixar I can think of is really Toy Story 3, and for obvious reasons that was more emotional. But yeah, there was a lot of good action sequences. Humor was occasionally a bit slapstick, but there was some decent parts, mainly from the robots and mainly from Chris Evans's Lightyear. Socks was great. Socks was the perfect kind of comedic usage, but also kind of like a straight person. Taika Waititi was underused, I think, but not in a way which kind of distracts from the film. If it was any other studio, who made a film, I think it would just be an alright film, or a good, borderline good film. Because it's Pixar, has an extra kind of Pixar topping on it, which can, apart from Cars 2, can never be kind of disregarded. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the film. Also, I just got my MA in film today, or rather, I got my confirmation that I've actually passed with a merit. So instantly, everything I now say on this channel has much more authority, and I'm right all the time. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this came through okay. It's the first time I've done a live stream like this in the public using 5G. Not sure how the sound quality is, so I guess I'll watch it back when I get home and hopefully it's alright. But yeah, other thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go home before I get any more awkward glances. How do I stop this thing? How do I stop this thing? Oh, there you go. There's a stop button. Okay, bye.